Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today, unfortunately, we're going to be talking about an article that I saw that was talking about a recent poll from the University of Virginia that showed that half of Trump's voters and nearly 41% of Biden voters would support splitting the United States up along party lines, essentially in a manner pretty close to how the first Civil War back in the 1800s kind of broke out, where depending on a state's political ideology, they would join one of two different factions, basically, that would probably become independent countries. And honestly, it's pretty sad as an American, right? Because I never thought that in my lifetime, which, by the way, I'm still pretty young, right? I would have never thought that in my lifetime, we would be seeing something, like this kind of unfold. We'd be seeing people genuinely thinking this way, but apparently we have gotten to that point, and it's pretty nerve-wracking and a little sad because, first off, a lot of this is kind of stuff that's been predicted for hundreds of years now, and number two, because, the old saying goes, like, history is always doomed to repeat itself, especially if you don't pay attention to it. And we've seen this happen historically dozens of times where a country will not focus on the issues at hand and, divide themselves ideologically or along some stupid line that doesn't need to be the drawing line. And this is how countries fall apart, this is how a country goes from being the sole superpower to a global laughingstock. You divide the people in the country. I mean, it doesn't feel like this is too foreign of a concept. I mean, we've literally seen this happen in the United States before. More than half of Trump voters, 52%, and 41% of Biden voters expressed support for cleaving the country along political lines, according to a new poll from the University of Virginia's Center for Politics. The UVA Center for Politics teamed up with Project Homefire, a group working for common ground in American politics, to find out just how deep our divisions run. The poll consisted of 300 questions given to 1,001 Trump voters and 1,011 Biden voters, with a margin error of plus or minus 2.2%. The poll asked people to respond on a sliding scale based on how much they agreed with different statements, including, quote, "The situation in America is such that I would favor blue/red states seceding from the Union to form their own separate country." Now, before I get any further into the video, I do want to go ahead and say this is quite a small sample size. Obviously, in science, the more evidence of something that you have, the better. And of course, in a 330 million people democracy/republic, the opinions of 2,000 aren't the complete end of the world. You know what I'm saying? This is still a very small fraction of the population, but it's still pretty telling because obviously in the people who were not polled, the vast majority of the population, a lot of these ideas still ring true. So when you think about it, it's not just, 600 Trump voters, 500 Trump voters that are thinking this, right? And, whatever, like 450 Biden voters or something like that. It's not just them thinking these things. There are thousands upon thousands, if not tens of millions of Americans that could be divided along these party lines. And obviously, these concepts even really being something that are this prevalent in our society that people think like this is already bad enough. So first and foremost, why is this a bad thing? I don't know if I should even have to explain this to people, but the idea of the United States of America dividing itself into two separate constitutions, countries, political parties, whatever you want to call it, is not a good thing. The whole point of the United States government is it's supposed to be representative of everybody, right? It doesn't matter your political ideology, you're supposed to have a fighting chance. Now, is it a perfect system? Absolutely not. I mean, you see that the two parties, the Democrats and the Republicans, dominate the political sphere. You don't see third-party elections being a possibility most of the time. Third-party candidates and presidential elections often struggle to even really get like 1% of the votes. And, it just is kind of normalized in American culture at this point that, you're either Republican or a Democrat. And not only has this been dangerous for the entirety of the time that this has been done here in the United States, but it's especially dangerous now. I mean, we're dealing with a country that for the last two elections has been in complete fucking uproar, Dozens upon dozens of things have happened for the federal government to be mistrusted by the population. Everything is mishandled in some way. We have a horribly inefficient government. All of the politicians that get any time in the media are spending their time dividing each other. If they're Republicans, they take consistent shots at Democrats and Democrat states and tell people that these people fucking hate the United States and they want to bring the downfall of America. You got liberals who accuse everybody with conservative ideas of being hateful, racist pieces of fucking garbage. Like, it's pretty sad that, if you're a Republican, you're automatically deemed as thinking just like Trump, and if you're a Democrat, you're automatically deemed as thinking just like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. When the truth is the vast majority of people fall in some sort of middle ground there. They support some ideas, but not all. They support some things from one side, some things from the other. And people often try to pinpoint my ideology. I've been called everything from a fucking raging liberal to somehow being alt-right because of my videos. But the truth is I voted third party in the first election that I ever got to vote in 2020, and at the same time, I have publicly criticized Democrats and Republicans a lot here on my channel. Sometimes specifically, sometimes overall, but I feel like that's the real problem in the United States, right? People, I feel like they understand the nuance of this stuff. I feel like they understand these, but they still allow for the propaganda that both of these political parties put out. They still allow that to fester, They hear somebody on the right say that the left insert this, and they believe it. They listen to the media, which a lot of the time is honestly definitely going to lean one way or the other. It's no secret that Fox News is quite conservative, and you got CNN over here being, the raging libtards. Like, that's been known for a while, right? That's what everyone fucking says, right? Well, the problem is people take this shit way too fucking seriously. That's the problem, I think, with American politics. And what do I know? I'm some 20-something-year-old bozo who plays video games for a living, but from my, I guess, perspective here, Americans no longer debate the topics. They no longer debate the things at hand, the issues. Should we raise taxes or should we lower them? Should we be targeting corporations or should we be fighting back against, small businesses with these laws? Should we be intervening in another country's issues or should we spend less on the military and more on education, right? There's a lot of issues. There's problems at hand that need to be addressed by the public, through what we have. But instead, Americans will watch these fucking presidential debates, which, by the way, they're not debates. If you watched the Biden-Trump debates, I probably lost about 25 IQ points watching that, okay? Both of them spent the entire time attacking one another. It was like watching fucking fourth graders debate for president, right? That was who we got to pick between. One of them was calling the other guy fucking sleepy the whole time, and the other guy didn't know which stage to fucking stand on and where to talk if the teleprompter didn't tell him. And those were the people that, tens of millions of Americans tuned in to see quote-unquote debate. And political functions are no longer about debating issues and solving the better, I guess, part for the country. It's about being a fucking TV show, essentially. This is a Netflix original series that you're watching. No House of Cards, but Americans keep falling for this shit hook, line, and sinker, man. Everything about our political system in this country has been monetized and weaponized against the public, okay? All the information is stated by either a left-leaning or right-leaning source, so you're pretty much forced to align with a political ideology at that point, if you're even going to trust the mainstream media. Second off, you're demonized for joining either side by a vast majority of people. At least that's how it feels. If you support Trump, everyone thinks you're a fucking racist, bigoted asshole who hates everybody and just wants fascism. And if you like Biden, you're looked at as like a tree-loving, hippie fucking idiot who doesn't know what they're talking about and hates America. Like, it's ridiculous. We're basically in a fucking episode of American Idol. These are the people you're voting for. You know what I'm saying? These are the people, who have control. And people don't look at the stupid shit that they do constantly. They always look at the party lines. Are they a Republican? Are they a Democrat? Oh, that makes what they do excusable because they're on my side. As long as the color's correct, do whatever the fuck you want to do. And it's insane to me that we've gotten to that point. That our population has been brainwashed to think this is how politics are supposed to work. I mean, we're getting to a point, that people can't even agree so that they want fucking two different countries. And it's sad because at the end of the article, here's what it says. The results of the latest poll are not completely without hope, however. Both groups of voters strongly supported several goals of the bipartisan infrastructure and reconciliation bills currently going through Congress, such as improving the power grid, modernizing drinking water systems, and investing in roads, bridges, and other types of hard infrastructure. In order to figure out ways to bridge the divides, we need to understand not just the divides themselves, but also understand the ways in which we can together move forward to reach common ground. The project helps us do both, said Larry Shack of Project Homefire. The project's authors say that they hope their work will also identify the compromise-receptive subgroups among Trump and Biden voters who will be able to hopefully help build bridges between the two factions. Simply put, we need a real plan to heal our fractured democracy. So, I don't know about you guys, but this doesn't fucking surprise me because, once again, if you took the whole political system and you took these ideas or these questions and you didn't put like political lines on it, people would support this shit. Like, yeah, a vast majority of people want good roads and safe roads to drive them and their families on, and they want a highway system that benefits everybody. I feel like if there was no, party lines attached to it, most people would think, hey, maybe we should put more money towards schools so people can get better fucking educations. If it wasn't divided along party lines, people would be like, yeah, I want clean drinking water. I think the environment's fucking important. Animals shouldn't be getting butchered. So we can build a new Amazon fulfillment center every single fucking county in America. Most Americans would be like, yeah, I think we spend an absurd amount on our military, and maybe having the world's biggest and most advanced military by a long shot is already enough, and it's time to fund other things. Like, I feel like for the presidential election, if they stopped putting like Democrat and Republican next to the people's names, that would make the entire political system way better, right? Imagine if people voted on the issues and not a letter, okay? Imagine how much better of a world we would live in, how much better of an America we would live in, instead of thinking the only way out is to divide the country along two fucking political lines. I don't know, man. That's just my opinion on it all. Thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like. Subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel. Follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubToOptimus. Make sure to check out Shop Opti down below. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus. Well, it's pretty sad, and signing out.